Hey guys, Kurt from Time Machine Transport. I had to start this video over because a neighbor came out. I'm at my mother-in-law's place again doing some more work. Another beautiful day here in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So anyways, I've been listening, as I normally do, to New York Prepper. And I critique those guys, or I criticize those guys from New York Prepper, Canadian Prepper, and Full Spectrum News. The reason being is none of those guys have military experience. And not like I have a lot of military experience. However, you have to go at things with an open mind, right? These prepping channels, they play both sides of the fence. And like I said, they do, this is going to happen, or it may not happen. So then when it does happen, they come back and say, see, I told you it was going to happen. When it doesn't, they don't say anything. Or they say, well, I said it wasn't going to happen. So they play both sides of the fence. So they can get more subs, right? So here's, and it's also funny how Canadian Prepper especially uses, it's not rocket science. Well, Hamas builds their own rockets. Not all of them, but they build a vast majority of their homemade rockets and explosives. So, anyways, so if Hamas can build a rocket, is it genius or is it not? Anyways, I like to say it's not brain surgery, because how many brain surgeons do you actually meet? But according to Hamas and to the Israelis and U.S. and everybody else, that Hamas has homemade rockets. So I guess it's not rocket science. Anyways, but these channels, these three I just mentioned, they all have said that nukes are going to be used or launched. Nukes will not be launched. Nukes will not, I repeat, not be used. For the obvious. And I'll go to a movie with Nicolas Cage called Warlord, or Lord of War, I think it is. Anyways, they say it's based on true events. Not all of it's real, I'm sure. However, it just tells you that there is money in wars, right? Nukes do not make the industrial complex or these countries money, or these arms dealers money. Nukes do not do that. Wars create wealth for these guys and gals, right? So nukes, get that off the table. They will not be used. New York Prepper keeps talking about these nuke fighter jets that are, or these fighter jets, these U.S. fighter jets that are nuclear capable, that they're modified to carry nukes, all this stuff, and they're parked in Jordan. And that's the reason why they're parked there, because they're going to use nukes. They're not going to use nukes, guys. That's insane, right? And it's interesting on that topic how all these other countries, including the U.S., if you do this, we're going to do this. If you do this, we're going to do this. So on and so on and so on. Constantly that red line, right? So far I've seen everything that has been done, but the retaliation or the opposite of that, of what they're saying they're going to do, it doesn't happen. So it's just, it's crazy how these prepping channels, mind you, are talking about there's going to be nukes launched. It's not going to happen. Another thing, so the Palestinians, and you're not hearing this anywhere, really, you're not hearing it anywhere on mainstream media. You're hearing about this hospital bombing, which we don't really know who did it. Even if they say they found out who did it, it's probably not those people. So pray for all the people that have families and have lost their lives, and on both sides, Palestinian and Israeli, and U.S. citizens, French citizens, and German, everybody, right? So it's very sad. I couldn't, like I said, if something happened like that to my family, I would want revenge 100-fold, because that's human nature. So, but I said that yesterday's video. So you're not hearing this on lamestream media, that the PLA, the Palestinians Liberal Army, they actually are they're not like they went away, but they're actually recruiting veterans and retired commanders and stuff like that into the PLA to fight Hamas. And you're not hearing about that anywhere. So actually, there was about an hour-long conflict between the PLA and Hamas, and I guess like 60 or so Hamas terrorists were killed at this police station. So the people in Palestine are starting to rise up against Hamas. Hopefully that stays on its course to eliminate Hamas, which will probably never happen, but we don't know that for a fact, right? Also, Joe Biden, when he visited Israel, I think it was today, or yesterday, I think it was today. Anyways, he said, I thought it very interesting. They had him on video saying, like leaning over to Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, and he said it was the other team that did this. That is very, very interesting. Biden's an idiot anyways, but why would he use the phrase the other team did it? That is very, very interesting, because if that is part of your team, which I truly believe it is, because the U.S. has funded, Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, so on and so on. Because I don't know about you guys, but I didn't receive a memo from the U.S. government saying, hands falling asleep, saying that, hey, Kurt Sabella, Sarah Sabella, are you okay with us leaving $88 trillion in Afghanistan of your taxpayer money, my taxpayer money? I didn't get a memo on that. Did you guys? No, I'm sure you didn't, because they never sent it out. So our American dollars are funding these projects, and and Biden sounded like a drunken sailor when he's up there. And no offense to sailors, he sounded like a drunken paratrooper. I was a paratrooper. So, anyways, him going up there and just sounding like he's drunk or drugged up or tired or whatever. That's the image of the United States right now, unfortunately. So him leaning over to Netanyahu and saying the other team did it, the other part of our funded team did it, is how I gathered that. Also, he also said to the Israeli people that he had talked to the war cabinet, and he said, hey, we have to provide humanitarian aid to Gaza and turn the water back on, get those supplies. If you look anywhere, well, I don't know about anywhere, but if you look, you will see that there's hundreds, I don't know about hundreds, but a lot of semis and vehicles at the Egyptian Gaza border, and they're just waiting with humanitarian aid. And Biden, hiding from Biden, he said that that Israel had okayed the humanitarian aid, which they didn't, because today, again, the American ambassador to the UN, so this black lady, this ambassador to the UN, or the U.S. ambassador to the UN, said that they had 12 votes for yes. So Russia and UK were like undecided, I guess, or they wanted an extension. That's what it was, and the U.S. vetoed it because it didn't say in the. So I guess Brazil had initiated it or whatever, but in the documents or whatever, I don't know what they call it, but it didn't say that Israel had the right to defend itself. Well, that's kind of self-explanatory, isn't it? So you vetoed the humanitarian aid because it didn't state that Israel had the right to defend itself. You want to talk about complete asinine and complete hypocrisy. How do you go on national television and say, I told Israel that we need to get humanitarian aid to the Gazan or to the Palestinians in Gaza? We need to get them the humanitarian aid. And then the same day, the U.S. ambassador to the UN says we vetoed it because it didn't say that Israel had the right to defend itself. Are you kidding me? That is freaking absurd. Absurd. So, you know, it's just amazing what happens during all this stuff, man. And you know, the thing with the hospital, we don't know which way it went, but I mean, and I don't mean to sound crude when I say this or non-sensitive. Accidents happen in war a lot that I'm sure that people don't know about. So was it, you know, a missile that went off course, pilot error, operator error, if it was from a drone? I mean, I think they still call drone operators pilots. But was it human error? Or did it come from Hezbollah? I mean, from Hamas, or even Hezbollah, right? They say it was a defaulty rocket or something like that Hamas had fired towards Israel, and it accidentally hit the hospital. Either way, you know, it's very sad. So accidents do happen, unfortunately. It's part of war. But like I said, I don't mean to sound insensitive or crude on that, but there's the but. It happens, right? So I found that interesting that the Palestinian people are rising up, and you're not seeing that on the news. You know, they've pretty much had enough. I wrote a couple things down. So went over the vetoed. So also the summit that Biden was supposed to attend yesterday, they canceled the summit. Jordan, the Palestinian representatives, Egyptian lover, Egypt. There were some other countries in there, Islamic countries, and it was like a slap in the face to this administration because the U.S. gives Egypt and Jordan, I want to say $3 billion a year each to each country, or it might be a total of $3 billion to both countries. And you'll accept our money, however you won't meet with the current administration, but yet you'll take our money. That's just a slap in the face to the U.S. and the U.S. citizens. It's just a slap in our face. And again, right in your face, right? It's just crazy to me. And it's just very, very interesting how everything's playing out. Again, you should be prepared. You should definitely be prepared. And just, like I said, it's so in your face. They're saying, you know, be on the lookout for terrorist activity here. All these embassies that were essentially attacked overnight, and especially in Turkey. And like I said on yesterday's video, Turkey is definitely the NATO's problem child, and I've said that for a long, long time. I've been to Turkey. We did we were part of NATO in my unit, and Turkey's a shithole. Especially Istanbul is very, very dirty. But anyways, Turkey is definitely a NATO problem child. And I foresee it as, I'm going to call it now that Turkey will leave NATO. Turkey will leave NATO. They will definitely be leaving NATO. Something's going to happen. We don't really know what. Something's going to happen. It's going to start them, or just immediately they're going to drop NATO. And I'm sure they're already making the preparations to leave NATO. And it's just very interesting. But like I said yesterday, look for, if you Google, I don't know which one it is. I think it's the Eisenhower, maybe the Washington, is the oldest aircraft carrier, I believe. Don't quote me on that. You have to look it up for yourself. You know, a lot of this stuff is, you know, you guys really should be looking into this stuff yourself. Don't just take my word for it, and definitely don't take Full Spectrum, New York Prepper, and Canadian Prepper's word for it, because they're all saying that nukes are going to be used. No way nukes are going to be used, man. Like I said, they don't make money. They don't make money. It's the opposite. And they just don't. They won't have that. If they're not firing cruise missiles into areas, or they're not attacking U.S. or Russian or Chinese aircraft carriers, if you get all this, you know, it's a propaganda thing, right? So if you're not doing anything now, like I said, if you do this, we're going to do this. If you do this, we're going to do this. But they don't do anything. I mean, and I'm glad, don't get me wrong, I'm not a warmonger. But if they're not doing that, they're not just going to automatically push the red button for the nukes to be flown. I mean, that is completely asinine. So I'm calling out those 3 prepping channels that are prepping channels, mind you, like I said. Guys, you got to just think about it, because I keep hearing more and more people, you know, we're going to nuclear war. We're definitely going into World War III. I think we're already in it, personally. There's not going to be nuclear weapons used. Just not going to happen. So stop hearing all that fluff, because it's just a bunch of fluff. And I do use a muffler. Anyways, I'm done. I got to get over here to work, and but I just want to tell you guys, don't stop thinking that there's going to be nuclear weapons used. It's not going to happen. Even what do they call them? Like low projectile nukes or something? That's not going to happen either, man. That's just not going to happen. They're in here to make money. They're in for population reduction, and it's not nuclear war. It's not. So, anyways, please I hope this video finds you well. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Ciao.